Login accepted.
All right, so I'm gonna have some of the competition team members come up and speak um, later on about boot camps and then the competition teams. But first, I'm gonna do some announcements, then I'll hand it off to the competition teams. All right, so merch, if you're a paid member, we do have your goodie bag for you. Um, Make sure you message Kenneth, Matthew, or Elias. I think they sent out announcements or they sent out a email. So make sure you check your email. But yeah, if you're a paid member, you could also just come up to me and then I'll check you off. And then one of our alumni, his name is Fuji. He will be talking, or we sent out a interest form for some of the positions that, or temporary positions that he has at Coastline Community College. These are a Cyber Patriot mentor or a NetLab specialist. If you go to the QR code or the bit.ly link here, there's like all the job descriptions about those two roles. But if you're interested, make sure you fill that out. If there's enough interest or if there's enough people who are interested, then we can have the we can have him come over on Friday and he could talk about the roles and then what he does for his job. And then Tech Symposium, just a reminder that Tech Symposium is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You don't have to stay there the whole time. You can leave whenever you want, or you could enter whenever you want. But there's also, we're taking volunteers if you want to help out with any of the food handling or ushering participants, then you can sign up as a Tech Symposium volunteer and you can get a shirt. Yeah. So just fill out the form, and then if you have any questions, just message me or Sydney. But yes. And then, like I said, Tech Symposium's this Saturday. Um, Make sure you RSVP by this Thursday, because if you don't, you don't get food. And then there's CTFs. There will be a CTF on that day. It'll be online for the whole event, and we'll have some prizes out. So, all right. So first, we're gonna talk about the competition teams. There's CPTC first, and then CCDC, then Cyberforce, NCAE, and then we're going to talk about our boot camps and tryouts. Can I have someone from CPTC come up?
So or CPTC is a red team, well, more so a pen testing competition in which you act as like the offensive side and you try and like hack into a network uh, given by like a fake fictitious company, and from there you'll discover vulnerabilities, respond to injects from said company, and also write a report at the end detailing all of your findings. And then uh, you might also be presenting those findings as well to like a mock C-suite kind of level office. And so, as kind of their quote here, CPTC focuses on mimicking the activities performed in real world penetration testing engagements conducted by companies, professional service firms, and internal security departments around the world. And given this is their motto, they really try and make it as realistic as possible. A lot of the organizers themselves are like work as pen testers in their day-to-day jobs, and they kind of take what they see and try and replicate that in the environment that you'll be competing in. Now, kind of describe the workflow of CPTC. Um, the theme is chosen and announced quite early in the season, and from there, you have I think like 2 to 3 months of just like preparation until like regionals, where you'll be doing OSINT, and historically they have always been releasing like little hints about uh, like your environment. So they'll create the company on LinkedIn and they'll make maybe some employees and then they'll create like a paper trail from those employees that you can track through like GitHub, Reddit, or like Docker and across all these sites. And you'll be discovering just different like hints of information, and some of those might be very valuable. Like in the past, we've seen, I think, code on Stack Overflow. In this past year, wasn't that insightful. However, that was mainly due to some issues regarding how LinkedIn handles like fake companies, and they're pretty strict on it. So a lot of things were getting taken down. However, we can hopefully expect that in the next year it'll be something that is more prevalent. Then you'll move on to regionals, which is this time was conducted at Coastline, and regionals is within our SoCal region. We'll compete against all the other colleges local to us, and that's pen test on a mock environment. It is pretty much the same as globals, except globals you have to do a presentation at the end, and something unique as well as with CPTC in your regional competition, that's the first time you're seeing the environment and the first time you're interacting with the company. But in globals, they basically, it's considered a reassessment. So you're going back into the same network that it was before. And now the company has fixed certain vulnerabilities depending on your findings. So you have to find out what things they've remediated, what things are still vulnerabilities, and then you also have to find new vulnerabilities to present to them. And like I said, Globals also has a presentation at the end. It's 10 minutes and they'll like hard cut you off at the end. Um, and if you're interested in any of like the reports created in CPTC or the presentations, there's a GitHub filled with all the previous reports, slides, and there's a YouTube channel with all of the presentations on them as well. So to cover things that you would learn in CPTC, it covers Active Directory, which is a very huge part of it, and then you'll get into things like HTTP, SQL, cloud, SSH, SMB, and FTP services. Um, and like I said, Active Directory is kind of your big hitter, but across the Linux systems, you also have a lot of the others. Um, some of the tools that are very common for us is Nmap, NetExec, Impacket, GoBuster, Burp Suite, FUF, and SQLmap. These kind of range across both Linux and Windows. And I won't get into what each of them do right now, but they're very useful in terms of both like exploitation and also the like discovery of vulnerabilities. Like with FUF, you can do fuzzing, which is really good at like testing a lot of different things and figuring out where a vulnerability might lie. And lastly, we also have the methodologies. So as I mentioned, you have hacking Windows as a big part, hacking Linux, and hacking Linux is most of the time hid behind web apps. So first that you have to get through. You'll be given like a website, and then you'll have to figure out how to maybe upload a shell or get some sort of command execution on the website, and then you'll get into the Linux system that's running behind it. But that doesn't mean all Linux systems are, hidden behind websites. Sometimes you might go in through different means, like an FTP share or, um, different kind of services like that. And lastly, new to kind of this year is also they introduced AI models. And that's something that I personally worked with this last year. They have both like challenges on injects for hacking AI models. So they'll give you like a password manager and you have to coerce it into telling you its password when it's has multiple like security measures against providing that to you. And they also have it kind of built into their network and their actual environment. So you might have like a website with a helpful chatbot that you have to be able to exploit into giving you data on like the back end of maybe the Linux system it's running on, or maybe some private information that it shouldn't really have access to. And lastly, we have report writing, which is a very big portion of it because although you have all these very technical skills, uh, the technical report accounts for only like 25% of your total score in CPTC. So your report writing, the way you talk to the C-suite and respond to injects is such a huge portion and actually like the majority of your points. So it's really good to kind of get into that practice of being able to both do the technical aspects and have the business skills as well. So regarding team structure, we have a captain. For this next coming year, I'll be your CPTC captain. So I'm kind of in like an all-around role where I'll help each of the other pen testers and keep them on track, and also probably be the one that is responding to a lot of injects. Then we have four pen testers covering different areas. So we'll have someone who's kind of well versed in everything and can help across the board as your all-rounder. We'll have someone mainly on the Windows network. Then we have web apps, and we'll also have a cloud and web app. And the reason that's mixed with cloud and web apps is because the cloud environment is not always super big, or we're also not sure if there will always be a cloud environment. So it's good to kind of be multi-versed in that. And lastly, we also have a business lead who will be helping with the injects and the kind of report writing aspect of the competition. And we'll also have two alternatives. So um, these are people that can sub in case anything goes wrong with some of the main roster slots. So regarding our placements for CBTC, we won first place globals in the 2021 to 2022 and 2022 to 2023 competitions. And we've won first place in our regional competitions across the past 2 years as well.
And now I will be speaking about CCDC. CCDC stands for the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, and it's almost like the opposite of CPTC, where instead of penetration testing, you will be defending this system against an active red team. While you're defending your network and securing services from vulnerabilities, you'll also be writing business injects and and completing business tasks. There can also be instances where you will be talking to or messaging an orange team, which are just people from this company who might need help with things. And this competition focuses a lot on system admin, incident response, networking, and cloud engineering. And it does simulate incident response and IT. On the roster has 8 members on the main roster and 4 alternates. And here are some of the things that you'll learn. For the services, it's very Active Directory heavy, especially this year. And there's a lot of DNS, HTTP, SQL, cloud, SSH, some email, and SMB as well. Some tools that we use during CCDC are group policy, Nmap, Splunk, sysinternals, VPN, and firewalls. Firewalls are very important during this. Some of the procedures that we usually go through are user management, incident response in case we find that there is an active red team member in our network. We do patching and hardening, creating and restoring backups, and inventorying, which is important to find to know like exactly what is in the system or on each machine. And a lot of the operating systems that we use are CentOS, Ubuntu, Alpine, Debian, and Windows servers and workstations. So this is the team structure that was used, I think, 2 years ago, where the captain was the one doing the networking and helping around as needed. We have a business lead who manages all of the business injects and helps with writing them and distributing them. We also have a person to help with cloud because there has been more cloud in regionals. We have the Linux lead, and we have two more members who focus on Linux. One of them helps with web apps, and the other one manages the databases. We also have two members on Windows, one of them being the Windows lead, and the other is the Windows secondary.
Hi, everybody. My name's Alex, and I'll be talking about Cyberforce. I'm not currently on the Cyberforce team, but I was on the Cyberforce team back in 2023. And it's both kind of like a blue, and there are aspects of red. So I kind of just like said it was like purple. But what is Cyberforce? So Cyberforce is a cybersecurity competition hosted by the Department of Energy. And it's focused on securing critical infrastructure. So things running industrial control systems and SCADA systems, such as like windmill farms or like solar farms. This competition is a little different from CCDC and CBTC. There's a lot of things you have to do pre-competition that can determine your scoring placement the day of competition. So I like to think of it as like a 2-week competition where the first week you're working on a C-suite panel video. Essentially, you just make a video for the C-suite where you're describing what your business is, what the business risk of a breach could be, kind of like the financial impact. This is very business heavy, and you're doing like a very basic overview of what your company is and like how a breach of your company can affect it. And then also the week after, you have your vulnerability analysis slash inventory report. So this part of the competition, you're given your infrastructure, you're given access to your boxes so you can run vulnerability analysis scans on it and also do an inventory. In this report, you're essentially just describing what vulnerabilities you find, how to remediate them, and also what your company network looks like. So you're also inventorying the company network. You end up making a network diagram along with a report, like a little like 2-page report on how you actually secured your infrastructure, and that totals to about 10 pages. All this work is done with 6 people. Usually 3 people do the C-suite panel video, but everyone works on the vulnerability analysis slash inventory report. And the day of competition, you're mostly focused on incident response and CTFs. So some things you'll learn by doing this competition. Like I said, this competition is very focused on industrial control systems and critical infrastructure. So a big thing that you will learn are how to use SCADA systems and hardware machine interfaces. But also you have your traditional services such as like web servers, running HTTP, SQL databases, SSH, FTP, and SMB. Things you'll learn, or for some tools you'll learn, there's a different array of tools that you'll be learning, specifically for like the vulnerability analysis part. A huge thing that you'll use is Nessus. Nessus is just like a vulnerability scanner. Nmap, network mapper, so you can inventory what services are running on your endpoints. Metasploit, so you can actually test out the vulnerabilities on your endpoints. WinPs, LinPs, so you can find privilege escalation vectors on your network, and also firewalls. You'll also be learning how to do CTFs. CTFs are a huge portion of points that you'll be gaining day of competition. And there's a lot of different CTF categories, which are they're honestly some of them are easy, such as like the GRC, OSINT, some security operation stuff, but a lot of them are pretty difficult, but you have like a good support structure from previous competitors that will teach you like how to do this stuff. How to do things such as like reverse engineering, binary exploitation, forensics, STEG, and crypto. And then you also learn some like business aspect stuff that I was talking about earlier, such as report writing, presenting, and also there's a web development portion of this competition that affects a huge part of your score day of. I don't think I did a team structure, but the team structure is essentially three people on CTFs, three people on incident response day of competition. And I'll also be talking about NCAE. Um, I was previously on the NCAE back in 2024 and have kind of been supporting the NCAA team a little bit with like any questions that they have about the competition. It's kind of just like helping out wherever I can. But this is a blue team focused competition. It's a cyber defense competition. Um, kind of like CCDC, but also a little different. So, NCAE teaches infrastructure development and defense skills. Essentially, during the competition, you're tasked with standing up services to support a business operation. And at the same time, you're also defending your network from attackers in real time. Unlike CCDC, you start with your services up, but in this competition, you actually have to set up the services and then defend them, which I think is a really important skill to learn. To be able to troubleshoot and know how these services work, you really have to know how to stand them up. So I really like this competition, especially for beginners, which is like what this competition is geared towards. And there's also a CTF component of this competition. So kind of like Cyberforce, you'll be learning things such as like reverse engineering, forensics, binary exploitation, OSINT. And yeah, our track record for the last 3 years has been pretty good. We've won first place for the last 3 years in the Western region, and then last year we placed second in finals, and then this year NCAE will be traveling to Florida to compete in finals again. So some things you'll learn. You'll be learning how to set up services such as HTTP and also HTTPS. You'll be learning DNS, SQL, SSH, and FTP and how to set those up and manage them. You'll also learn some tools such as Nmap, firewalls, RC Sync, and also how to like make scripts. Scripting is a huge part of this competition, and knowing how to script is good not only for this competition, but just like cybersecurity work in general. Some things you'll learn, some like procedures you'll learn is like user management, um, incident response, uh, patching and hardening, creating and restoring backups is pretty huge in this competition, and also inventorying. This competition is focused on Unix-based operating systems. There's absolutely no Windows in this competition, so you're mostly focused on CentOS, Ubuntu. Um, I think there's a new router operating system called MikroTik this year. You'll also be learning Debian and FreeBSD as well, and boot camps. Don't want to talk about boot camps.
So boot camps are both a way for us to teach you guys the information required to be able to participate in the upcoming competitions, as well as a way for us to um, kind of provide you guys with work to see how well you do in order to help us choose who is fit to be on the team. So it's every Saturday over a 6-week period, and we have homework assignments that are due every Friday at midnight. And these cover various topics across Windows, Linux, and web. And I think we try and match the CPTC to CCDC themes from week to week. So if we're learning about Windows, we'll be learning about that across both boot camps. Do you have anything? So
So the three main objectives for the boot camps are learn to learn, build team skills, and prepare for the future. So by learn to learn, it's important to be confident in yourself and knowing that you have the ability to learn rapidly and independently. But you can also, of course, like reach out to people who you know might have more experience that can help you because everybody is here and available for you to ask questions to. With building team skills, we want to see if you can build relationships and show that you have interpersonal skills. So this is like participation, helping each other out, and just overall being a friendly person and a team player. And to prepare for the future, this boot camp really helps set a foundation that allows you to discover different opportunities within cybersecurity. So you'll be learning different skills that we've mentioned before.
yeah, and um, some tips in mind is just to be very involved, as we mentioned, with the kind of like team. One of the goals was like, being able to work in a team and communicate well. So just kind of being involved, talking to people, and just being a good sport is like always really appreciated. And it does help in the end when we're deciding who to put on the team. If you guys just really get along. We also recommend taking notes and researching out of the boot camps, like out of class, outside of just the Saturdays. You kind of need to be putting in effort just across the week, into learning new things and that kind of idea. Additionally, we recommend to stay organized. It can kind of get like with learning so much material in such a short span, it can oftentimes get out of hand. So having like a structured notes is really helpful. Being able to Google things really well, and also remember that you're able to ask questions to any of us. We're here to help, and if you need help on like a homework assignment, or you're just curious, feel free to reach out and we'll do our best to answer the question. And the most important thing would be to bring a growth mindset. Just be prepared to learn, be prepared, be open-minded, and um, have a lot of enthusiasm, I guess.
And now we'll be going into tryouts. So for the CCDC team, you need to be a full-time student at CPP, and that means you have to attend both fall and spring semesters for next year. You have to be in good academic standing, so at least a 2.0 GPA, and you need to stand out during the boot camp.
And for the CPTC team, this happens earlier in the year than CCDC, so you only need to attend just the fall semester. So if you're graduating and like you only have one more semester, you can still do the CPTC team. Once again, you need good academic standing and to stand out in the boot camps. Also, and kind of as the reminder here, like you don't like doing boot camps doesn't mean that you have to try out. And the boot camps are there mainly for you to learn. But if you want to try out, that's when you have the additional homework assignments and the eventual tryouts. But they are kind of not like mutually exclusive there.
Yeah, the requirements are for people that want to try out to be on the teams. And again, the boot camps are open to everyone, not just students.
Yeah, so Cyberforce and NCAE tryouts are a little different. They're mostly a service / CTF based competition. Unlike CCDC and CPTC, there isn't any boot camps for these, I guess. Pretty much everything you'll learn in the CBTC and CCDC boot camps are applicable to Cyberforce and NCAE. So it's a little redundant to have boot camps for those. But in terms of trying out for Cyberforce and NCAE, it will be just a 1 day, about like 4 hour competition where you're setting up services and also solving CTF questions. The Cyberforce tryouts will be hosted sometime early September, in the new semester, fall 2025. I'm pretty sure there's going to be 6 spots open for the Cyberforce team. I'm not sure if any of the previous Cyberforce competitors will be returning. So I guess that should be to be determined, I guess. But we do like to keep these competition teams open for beginners. So if you don't make it on the CCDC or CBTC teams and still want to be able to compete for the school at a collegiate level, then you should definitely try out for Cyberforce. Also, people that try out for the Cyberforce team will automatically join the NCAE team if they choose to do so. NCAE tryouts are essentially the same thing as Cyberforce, where you're setting up services and also solving CTF questions. NCAE is it will happen spring of 2026, so we'll be hosting tryouts over winter break. If all 6 people from Cyberforce end up joining NCAE, then there will only be 4 spots open. And like I said, the tryout format will be the same as Cyberforce. And also, Cyberforce competition happens like early November. So, Q&A section. Are there any questions for the teams? And also join our CVP Cyber Public Discord. But yeah, so one question is, how do I get more info on the boot camps? So to get more info on the boot camps, you can go to our CVP Cyber website. I think it's scysec team.us, I think. I'll put it in chat, or one of my buddies will put it in chat. But yeah, pretty much to get all of the information about what's going on in the boot camps and to get previous recordings of the actual boot camps and also previous homework assignments from the boot camps. Um, all the information will be on there. Any more questions? Boot camps, I think the exact dates are still to be determined, but usually boot camps are hosted sometime early to mid-July, and this will last all the way up until mid-August, with tryouts being sometime late to mid-August. Any more questions? Zoom. All right, I don't think there's any more questions. Oh, that's the last slide.
All right, if there's any questions, you could just drop it in the Discord. Oh, there's one more. Do I need to be a CBP student for all competitions? Yes. If you want to be a part of the competition teams, you have to be a CBP student, but boot camps are open to everyone. So you can join in person or you can join online. Yeah, we don't know if in person is gonna happen. I'm not too sure yet. That's up to them, but for sure there'll be a remote option. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you sign in. And then I'll keep the Zoom up if you have any other questions, but if not, you are free to leave.